Okay, in this video we're going to be talking about the Unit 1 Quiz 2 review. Now a lot of the stuff should look very familiar and it shouldn't give you that much trouble, but then there's some stuff that you might have forgotten about, so here we go. All right, question number 1, you can fit 6 people in a 5x5 square using this ratio. Now if you remember, this is another people over space. All right, so 6 people in a space 5x5, so that'll be 6 over 25 is equal to how many people? That'll be x in a 25 by 25 is equal to x over 25 squared is going to be 625. Now, since this is the first one of the video, I'm just going to do this the long way. I'm going to cross multiply, and when I do, I get 25x is equal to 3,750, and I'm going to divide by 25, and when I do that, I'm going to get an answer of 150 people. All right. All right, problem number 2. Now, problem number 2, it says using a 5x5 foot square. Now, the thing to remember, and that is, in this first question, it says 6 people can fit in the 5x5. Here, it doesn't say anything about it. Also, it says solve in terms of E, so you know we're going to bring the E out. All right, so it's still a people over space situation. So that's going to be E over 25 is equal to the overall space, which is X over, looks to be 6,400. We're going to cross multiply. You get 25x is equal to 6,400 E. Remember, keep that E, stick it on there. You're going to divide that by 25, and your answer is going to be 256 E. Now remember, your answer is in the form of an expression, so you're always going to have that E on there. Now, for B, it says Peter was able to fit 5 people in the square. Now, there's 2 ways you can figure this out. All right, the easiest way is just take 5 and plug it into E. So if you do that, you get 256 times 5, which gives you 1,280 people. All right, that is probably the easiest way to do it. Now, if you're someone who's like, okay, I'm going to forget that, then this is what you can do. Rather than plugging it in for E, like what I just did, what you can do is you can take 5 and go back to your original proportion and make that into a 5. So when you cross multiply, you would get 25x is equal to 6,400 times 5, which gives you 32,000. You divide by 25, and you're going to get x is equal to 1,280. All right. Both ways you're going to get the exact same answer. It just all depends on how far you want to go with this. All right, 3. You are a city event planner, and the annual Harvest Festival will be next month. You are in charge of picking the venue, and you are estimating that each person attending will need 15 square feet. All right, so a couple of word associations here. Each person, that was a horrible underline, so let's try it again. Each person, that's 1, okay, will need 15 square feet. Now again, people over space, that's going to be 1 over 15, all right. Now, the space you are hoping has a measure of 400 by 300. All right, so you already know that it's going to be on the bottom, whatever 400 by 300 is, so 120,000, okay? Now, the question is, what the heck do you do with the 7,000? And the answer is nothing. You do nothing with it. You leave it off to the side. This will be x. Cross multiply, and so when you solve, you get x is equal to 8,000 people. All right, now the 8,000 people represents the max that can fit in this space. So that means 8,000 is the max. Anything above that is a no. Anything below that. See, will this space be able to fit 7,000? Well, if it has a max of 8,000 people, 7,000 people will be able to fit in that. So the answer is yes. All right. Answer each question around the nearest 10. All right, so Mary reduced the size of a painting to a width of 3.3 inches. All right, so So, oh, hold on. Little technical difficulties here. Let's try this again. All right, so, all right, that's better. All right, I was on the wrong document. I was on an old review. All right, here we go. Sean reduced the size of the rectangle to a height of this. What is the new width? All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do height. Let's see. I'm just going to do height over width. So that'll be height over width. So we know that the new width is 2, but we don't know what the new width is. So that'll be x is equal to the new width if the originally 24 over 12. Let's see, I think, okay, good. Just want to make sure. All right, so cross multiply, I get 12x is equal to 48. X is equal to 4. All right. Ming was planning on a trip to Western Samoa. All right, before going, she did some research. All right, so let's see. It looks like we're going to do an exchange. 6 Talia, whatever that is, for $2. So I'm just going to do Talia over money. All right, so Talia over money. And so it looks like the exchange rate is 6 over 2 is equal to, all right, that's $6. So that's going to be on the bottom. 6x, cross multiply and solve. X is equal to 18. Now this is just basic proportions, so I'm kind of speeding up a little bit. Jasmine bought 32 kiwi for $16. So I'm just going to put kiwi over dollars. All right, so that's 32 over 16. How much can she buy for $4? So we don't know how many kiwi, but we do know it's $4. Cross multiply and solve. X is equal to 8. You can buy 4 bulbs. I'm just going to put a 4 there. Bulbs, elephant, garlic for $8. So I'm just going to put bulbs over dollars. So 4 bulbs for $8 is equal to, we don't know how much, over 32. Cross multiply and solve. You get X is equal to 16. All right. So again, basic proportions here. All right. So now let's go to the new stuff here. All right. In the 1990s, people living in Lawrenceville didn't have these area codes. And all right, so phone numbers. All right, so the phone numbers will look like this time. Now, first off, let me go ahead and tell you. Sometimes I will give you this right here. Sometimes I won't. All right. So what will help you out is whenever you see the word phone numbers, or the words that is, go ahead and write 7 blanks. 1, 2, 3, dash, 4, 5, 6, 7. A phone number is 7 numbers. All right. Go ahead and do that. So you know that there's going to have to be something in these blanks. All right. So the only restriction for the phone company was that A, which is the very first letter or the first number, could not be 0, 1, 2, or 3. So that means it's got to be 4 through 9. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's a total of 6. B, which is, if you notice looking at our model here, is our second number, cannot be 0, 1, or 2. So that means it's got to be 3 through 9, which gives us 7. That's all the possibilities. All right, all the possibilities. So everything else that's still blanked out will go back to your default 0 through 9. So it can be 0 through 9 possibilities. 0 through 9, 0 through 9, 0 through 9, which that'll give you 10, 10, 10, 10, and 10. And you are going to multiply all, I'm putting the dots for multiply all these numbers together. And when you do that, you get 4,200,000 phone numbers. Okay? Now, question number 10. In 1996, Lawrenceville adopted, here we go, 2 area codes. All right, how many total possibilities? Now, if you remember, 2 area codes, that's area codes, we are going to double. All right, you're going to double it. So that'll be 4,200,000 times 2 is equal to 8,400,000. There we go. Now again, this type of math is not difficult. You just need to know what the question's asking. All right. Question number 11. Here we go. License plates are like phone numbers, especially if there's not enough letter number combinations. All right. So how many possible license plates with the following restrictions. All right, if you count your little model here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 blanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know it's elementary, but fill them out because if I know I have a blank, something's got to go in it. It says the first character must be a vowel. All right, so let's see. Our vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. That's it. We're not going to do the whole sometimes Y bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so there's 5 possibilities. The second and third characters must be a digit, and 0 cannot be used. All right, so since you can't use a 0, that's going to be a 1 to 9 situation. So there's 9 possibilities on a 1 to 9 situation. The fourth and fifth characters must be a letter. All right, there's no restrictions on this, so we're going to do 26, 26, because it will be a letter, A through Z, A through Z, A through Z. You don't have to write A through Z. I do it just to make sure we're good. The last character can either be a letter or a digit. All right, so this is where it gets a little confusing because we've never dealt with this. A letter or a digit. All right, there are letters A through Z, and then there's digits 0 through 9. Now remember, A through Z is 26 possibilities, 0 through 9 is 10 possibilities. Add them all up, you get 36. All right? So if you need to let me explain more, ask me in class today. So multiply all this out, and your answer is 9,856,080 different license plates that can be created. All right, 12. Georgia put a restriction on the license plates, state that 3 characters must be letters and the last 3 must be numbers. How many possible license plates? All right, so again, same exact thing, 1, 2, 3 blanks, 4, 5, 6. It says the first 3 characters must be letters. All right, so that is A through Z, A through Z, A through Z, which gives you 26, 26, 26. And the last 3 must be numbers. There's no restrictions, so it's a default 0 through 9. 0 through 9. So 10, 10, 10. Of course, we multiply 17,576,000. That's easy. All right, question 13. In Georgia, adopted a new system where the letter cluster could be switched with the number cluster. How many total license plates? All right, so this might be a little confusing to understand. So what that means is, let's say if John had a license plate of I don't know why I've made that lowercase. They're not lowercase. So let's have A 5 5 5. That was John's, but then Sarah had a 5 5 5 A. Notice how the same numbers and letters can be used twice. All right. So because we have a different setup. So what we have here is a situation where it's almost like area codes, where you're given 2 possibilities, 2 options. So that means you are going to multiply by 2, because there's 2 positions in which the numbers and letters could be together. So you're going to take your answer from up here, different color, times everything by 2, and you'll be able to get 35,152,000. All right. These here, you guys should be so good with these. You should be able to talk me through it. First thing you need to do is find the area of each zone. So the area of zone 1 is a 75 by 250, which gives you an area of 18,500. And I'm sorry, the area is 18,750. That's the area for area zone 1. Zone 2 is a 95 by 250. So multiply those together, you get 23,750 for the area. And then lastly, zone 3, 85 times 250. So the area is 21,250. Okay. Now, if you notice the predictions, is for zone 1, 15 square feet per person. Again, per person is a 1. So over here for zone 1, people over space, 1 over 15 is equal to x over 18,750. Cross multiply, and you get 1,250 people. All right. For zone 2, if you notice, it is 20 square feet per person. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and write it right here. 1 over 20 is equal to x over 23,750. And you get an answer of 1,188 people. And then lastly, for zone 3 is 30 square feet per person. 1 over 30 is equal to x over 21,250. You get an answer of 708 people. All right. So the field has been divided into 3 zones for security purposes. Blah, blah, blah. Based on this information, find the total number. Well, the total number was zone 1 was 1,250 plus zone 2, which is 1,188, plus zone 3, which is 708. You do the math, you get 3,146 people. 3,146. Now, the county that will be hosting the event recommends there be a cop for every 30 people. So I'm just going to put cops over people. So 1 cop over 50 people is equal to x over the total, which is 3,146. Cross multiply and solve, you get roughly 63. I think it rounds. All right, one of these infamous parade questions. Now, if you're still having trouble with the parade question, I'm going to try to explain it a different way because we've already been doing it for 2 weeks now. And if you're still having trouble, then I'm going to try it a different way. Okay, so everything that you learned in the past, I want you to forget about for a second. All right, so here's the new way. Our new rate starts off at 200. Okay, now here's our next part. This rate decreases by 30%. Okay, so off to the side, this is what we've been doing for 2 weeks. We've been taking 200, we've been timesing them by 30%, we get 60, and then we subtract. Okay, and that will you subtract by 60, which gives you 140. All right, this is the way we've been doing it for 2 weeks. If you're still having trouble with this, then look at it this way, and that is from this perspective, and I'll write this in red here, and that is multiply the rate by what you're keeping. What you're keeping. Now, what I mean by that, and that is, it says that this rate decreases by 70%. So if you're decreasing by 30%, that means you are going to keep 70%. All right. So if you're decreasing by 30%, you're keeping 70%. So what you can do is the rate is 200, and what I'm keeping is 70%. So I'm going to multiply it by 0.7, and when I do that, I get 140. Notice we have a match. So doing it this new way, you don't have to subtract anymore because you've already kind of mentally did it when you did what you're keeping. So this rate is 140. Now let's look at the next part, and that is this rate is decreasing by 50%. Okay, now you should already know what decreasing by 50% is, but let's say you didn't. Well, the old way, you would say, okay, my new rate is 140. I'm going to times that by 50%. I get 70, and then I'm going to subtract by 70. 40 minus 70, that's 70. This is the old way, right? The old way. Now, the new way says, if I am decreasing by 50%, that means I'm keeping. What am I keeping? I'm keeping 50%. So that'd be 0.50. My new rate is 140. 140 times 50%, I get 70. Now, of course, it's 50%, so that's kind of like a weird way to say, 70. This rate now decreases by 60%. All right. So again, the old way for step number 4, the old way, you would say, okay, 70%. I'm going to times that by 60%, And when I do that, I believe I get 42. And then I'm going to take 42, subtract from 70, minus 42. That gives me 28. Well, that's the old way. But the new way, and again, we're on step number 4 here. The new way says, and I'll just write this off to the side here, and the new way says, you know what? If I am decreasing by 60%, that means I'm going to keep 40%. I'm keeping 40% if I'm decreasing by 60. So the new way would be the rate of 70 times what I'm keeping is 40. When I do the math, I get 80, or 28. Hey, look at that. That's a match. That's what I was looking for, 28. All right. Now, once you've figured out all of that, you are now simply going to multiply. All right, so let me clean this up a little bit. So 200 times 4 gives me 800. 140 times 4 gives me 560. 70 times 3 gives me 2100. I'm sorry, 210, sorry. 28 times 3 gives me 84. Add everything up, 1,654. And lastly, one of these questions, we've done several of them. The MPG, remember MPG, I don't know why I made that into a Q. Let's try that again. MPG, you always do 1 gallon. All right, so we've already done this several times. We're going to do gallons over miles. 1 gallon over 18 miles is equal to X over 751 miles, because that's the entire trip to the Keys. You get roughly average 42 gallons. All right, so 42 gallons. Now, if gas was $2.09 per gallon, how much would it cost? The easiest way to do this is to take 42 times 2.09. Now, if you wanted to do a proportion, it says 2.09 per gallon, which is 1. So gallons over costs, 1 over 2.09 is equal to 42 gallons over X, cross multiply, and you get $87.78. All right, that's your review. Hopefully you found it to be helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for watching.